I know it almost sounds too good to be true. Up to 70% more performance for free just using one wrapper function and a different compiler, but million.js actually enables this using a different shadow DOM, a block shadow DOM. So let's check this out. Alright, so let's start off with this really impressive demo they've got here. This is basically a little lag meter. So when it becomes yellow or red, it shows you how long your application stalled when a state change happened. So if we now just hit increment right here, we can see that it actually stalls for quite a while. We can hit it again and we will see it still becomes red for quite some while, which means that your application will stall for that time. And sure, we're currently rendering 5,000 rows of this little grid right here, but still, this will show you how many React components can be optimized using million. And now if we just head over to million and hit this little increment button again, then we can see that it doesn't stall for nearly as long. And that's because these functions are optimized. All of these components have some optimization on the compiler level that allow them to stall for not nearly as long and also to have a better shadow DOM comparison. And basically how they're doing it is this for component combined with a block statement. So basically they're not using maps and they're not using normal row components like you'd normally do. They're basically calling them row blocks because that's exactly what they are. They're just wrapping their row component inside of this block function to better optimize it for this new shadow DOM at compile time, which is quite awesome. But of course, there's always a catch. And in this case, the catch is that you can't use all the normal React features. For example, as you saw before, you need to use a for component instead of a map. Because they can't currently optimize for maps, they need to use this for component to get the best possible performance. The much bigger problem is that you can't use conditional rendering. And this will probably be a deal breaker for many of you, except that it will just fall back to React whenever you're using a feature that isn't supported. So if you have a component that uses conditional rendering, then that's absolutely fine. This component will just use a normal React shadow DOM and everything will still work. Sure, you won't have any performance benefits for this specific component, but all the other components using million will still be optimized. So you still get most of the performance benefit, and you'll also get a compile time warning telling you that you're using unsupported features, that you're falling back to React, and that you might want to try an alternative. But what's probably the coolest part of it all is it actually supports so many existing frameworks. So if you're using React App or Vite or Astro or Next.js or whatever, you can just integrate it into your existing project, try it out and see if you get any performance gains. And if you do, then it might be a wise decision to use it. But of course, million.js should not be an excuse not to use proper architecture like list virtualization. In fact, proper architecture can give you much more of a performance benefit than million could ever do. But while you're still learning all of this stuff, how should you decide what architecture is the right one for you? So, while you're still learning about architectures, million.js can be an awesome way to still have a speedy React app whilst learning what's the best architecture to use for your project. And maybe one of the best architectures could be React server components right here in Next.js 13. I don't know if they work for your project, but you can only know if you check out how to use them. So, have a good day.